Alrighty, Pokemon LEGO. This is a big topic, man. Dude, this is massive. A lot of people are now speaking about these new LEGO sets that have been announced, and they will be coming February 27th. Now, the whole thing with this Pokemon LEGO, it's been announced for a while, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, but now with the reveals, there is a few questions, not really with the quality of the products, but more so with the prices, which I will be going in today's video. Now, you know, there's just so many things to speak about with this Pokemon thing, and just as a side note, I have blinged myself out, you know what I mean? I bought these chains over the summer period, because in Australia, it's like summer, you know, we've got like, we're enjoying it, and then I bought these, and I'm like, hey, they look pretty cool. Let me know your thoughts, and hey, if there is any haters, I will be replying with voice messages because I've been doing that lately. It's been a bit of fun. So, okay, let's talk about these Pokemon LEGO sets and what is happening and some of the issues or problems that I suppose that have come about with this LEGO set. And like I said, a lot of it has to do with the pricing. All right, so the first one, and these are available, you have the Eevee here, which definitely looks cool. Awesome kind of collectible to have. You also have the Pikachu and the Pokeball. And of course, you also have the massive starter trio with Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise. Obviously, there's a little bit of hype. One thing I will say about these LEGO sets is they are playing it so safe with the Pokemon that are coming out. The big thing we need to speak about is the pricing of these, okay? So the Eevee right now is selling for $59 US. The Pikachu and Pokeball is $199 US. And finally, you have the starter trio for Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, which has a massive price tag of $649. That is massive, massive prices. And there is a lot of questions about this right now, and there's a bit of issues here. Number one, Pokemon obviously, and I think this is kind of, you know, the boiling frog analogy. It has come across so much right now that Pokemon is like, they started out as a big company. It's obviously always been wanted. Everyone likes collecting Pokemon cards. Everyone knows how in demand Pokemon is as a franchise. Though I think now it's actually just changed so much to the point where it's gotten beyond ridiculous that what Pokemon can almost get away with, right? Because people, like in terms of the TCG, in terms of the LEGO collectibles, they are such a strong brand presence. They are such a strong IP, and they know they can get away with these prices. One of the big things that I'm just thinking about this right now is a lot of the kids who are going to be wanting to purchase this, they are so priced out unless they, you know, buy the Eevee, or if there is a big Christmas present or something, they, you know, parents might decide, hey, we're going to buy the Pikachu and Pokeball. In terms of the Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, honestly, for most kids, they can forget about getting that unless they come from a very wealthy household. And that's kind of problematic because I built so many Legos as a kid. They were pretty available. My parents always were able to buy those. With these prices, kids are definitely priced out. And it does bring a question, who is the market for Pokemon? Because everyone goes, oh, you know, there's a big thing right now. And this is a bit of an issue with the Pokemon community. And it has to be spoken about right now. When you play the games, if adults criticize Pokemon Legends ZA, if they start criticizing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, if they criticize Pokemon Sword and Shield and they say, hey, it wasn't up to scratch. Over the last few years, a lot of people have criticized Pokemon games, and the big feedback that a lot of people say is, what are you complaining about? This is a kid's game. You know, if you're an adult playing Pokemon, these games are built for kids. You really shouldn't be complaining about it. Sure, we can take that argument, but then when we look at the Pokemon collectibles, whether it be Pokemon cards or this new Pokemon LEGO set, is it really priced for kids? Is it really built for kids? Not really at all. So you do have a massive misalignment here. And this is actually happening now widespread with Pokemon because sure, the games, yeah, they're built for kids. Hey, don't complain that the games are all for kids. But in terms of the other stuff, when it comes to collectibles, when it comes to Pokemon cards and Pokemon booster boxes, brand new booster boxes selling for $250 US straight out the floodgates, well, now we've got a bit of a different conversation that needs to be had though, because the market for these is definitely not children, and the market for the Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard set is most certainly not for kids. Though anyway, let's look at these sets and let's just go through them. So here we have the Eevee as well. Interestingly, it does say 18 plus on that. That's, yeah, I'm not sure why it says that. I didn't really think Legos are for 18 plus. I don't know, maybe like some big Lego enthusiasts can explain why that is. That's interesting there. And then you have 587 pieces. So it definitely is cool. This is your cheapest product available, which is just one Eevee model, which I do think, for 60 US, it's problem with this is me and my daughter, we were like we were in the shopping center the other day and she wanted some Legos. So I bought her Mario Lego, I bought her some Disney Legos, and this cost me all like a total, it was like 50 Australian dollars, which is literally like 30 USD. And I bought 2 Lego sets with that. The problem I'm seeing here is there really isn't an opportunity or a market for any of the kids who want to kind of build these sets. The cheapest entry product is a $60 product, which is just one big Eevee model. Now, the next one here, we have the Pikachu and Pokeball, which is 200 US, which is obviously, like I said, super expensive. This one definitely is more of an interesting model and more fun, and it is for 18 ages, 18 plus, and it's 2,050 pieces. So here you've got Pikachu with the Pokeball, but then again, that pricing right there, $199, but the retail price for these is insane. And the amount of people that are gonna be wanting to get these as well, it's gonna be huge. And there is gonna be a big people who never open these sets, the collectors, the sealed as well. So there is some interesting things to be had around here. Now the big one is the Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, which is retailing for 649 US, which is a massive price tag. So here we can also see 18 plus, those 6,838 pieces. So this is obviously huge. It will be a very fun thing to build as well. Pretty time consuming, and of course a lot of people will love it. The only thing here, and I'll probably say one of the big things here, I do think the Venusaur model isn't exactly, they didn't really nail that, which is interesting. And honestly, I think even Blastoise could have used a little bit more work. Actually, all of them. I don't think the models are that perfectly done here, though again, that is my opinion. Though here, if you do actually pre-order this, you do get a Kanto region badge collection with pre-order purchase of Lego Pokemon Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise while supplies last. So you do actually get a gift when you pre-order it. So if you were thinking about buying it, I suppose pre-ordering it is the best option because at least you do get a Kanto region badge collection. And I'm very familiar with Pokemon card collectibles, but I imagine as well, if that is a pre-order bonus, that will be also a desired collectible as well. Though here's the thing, this is kind of the start of this new Lego Pokemon era. I do think one of the things I do have to speak about with this new introduction set, just thinking, because I do work as, if it's your first time watching the channel, my name is Phil. I do work in marketing a lot. And my brain, obviously, when I talk about Pokemon collectibles or Pokemon TCG, my brain always thinks of the marketing aspects of it. So, if you do like those kind of things and you do want to subscribe, definitely feel free to subscribe. Though, in terms of the positioning that they've thought of when they released Eevee, Pikachu, and the original starter trio, they didn't really introduce a Pokemon that is a little bit more obscure. It is very much going for those Kanto Gen 1 fans. You've got Eevee, which is a very big fan favorite. Even the pricing of that, if a kid really wanted one of these sets, parents would probably decide, hey, you know what? Maybe the Eevee is the fair price point. I actually think the Pokeball Pikachu actually goes a little bit overs. They're like, in terms of a birthday present, like when I'm thinking 200 US, that's very expensive for a birthday present, right? So that's actually exceeding that. So in terms of the market, you've got the Eevee, which probably would be purchased a lot by like kids or who want that. That's your cheapest kind of entry point into this Pokemon Lego world. Then you have the Pikachu, which of course is the mascot of the franchise. Huge fan base there, very well established. That works. And then of course the Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise perfectly fits that Generation 1 audience of 30 to around 40 years old, higher disposable income, who probably will purchase this set. Why would you choose a Pokemon that's not that popular? Like, you're not exactly going to put a Zeb Striker as like to sell products, right? You're going to be choosing these massive Generation 1 Pokemon that have the highest fan base. So it's a very safe decision that they've done with these. In terms of this, there is going to be a massive collector audience, though I do, and I'm very interested to know a lot of your thoughts on where you think this is heading and where Pokemon is kind of heading in this new world, because in terms of this, Pokemon is just in such a unique position. And I think we can forget about Disney, forget about Star Wars, forget about Marvel in terms of their brand power. I don't think we've ever seen anything like Pokemon. Pokemon is truly in its own league. Though, when they are kind of playing with these massive price points and they're releasing products like this, it does blur the line of who the audience is. And that's a conversation that we all need to have. When we complain about the games and we're saying, hey, the games are built for kids, sure, they might be built for the kids, but in terms of the collector audience, people who are buying this are not kids. Parents will not be forking out $650 for a Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard starter kit. So the market is definitely positioned for that collector audience. Though in terms of the games, people say, hey, the games are for kids, don't even worry about it, you're too old for Pokemon, whatever the stories people want to say online. So there is a very big blurry factor happening here that kind of needs to be addressed by the community, because sure, we can say, hey, the games, don't worry about the performance, don't worry if it's not working well, don't worry if you can't walk into buildings because they haven't really polished it, with all the criticisms of Legends EA, how it's just one big map, and then the people go, don't worry, these games are built for kids. And then when you see this, it is just such a juxtaposition, and there's a big discussion right now with Pokemon, what's kind of heading in their direction for 2026, what's heading in 2027 and beyond, because Pokemon cards are just growing. My channel focuses a lot on Pokemon cards. Pokemon LEGO is now being introduced. I imagine that this is the first wave. I highly doubt that they're just going to release these 3 and that's it. I'm very, very confident that this is going to sell out like how everything Pokemon sells out. You do have such a unique market. Don't forget, Pokemon have been burnt before when they really tried to play in this rarefied air of high collectible audiences. There was the Pokemon collection box that released, I think it was late 2023. In fact, retailers were selling that at a discount, the Pokemon Classic Collection box. That was a very high premium collectible product. Now, this is the first introduction for the LEGO set, but maybe at these price points, there will be a lot of people, who have discussions. The thing is, I'm a big sucker for collectibles. Obviously, my whole YouTube channel, it's called Phillips Collectibles. I'm a big collectible guy, right? I love it. I mean, everything I do is collectibles, though I do also have a thing where I like the appreciation of it. For example, I purchased the PS5 controller, the 30th anniversary. My wife's like, oh, Phil, are you gonna leave that like closed in its box, or are you gonna just like leave it to display? I'm like, no way. I'm gonna be playing with that. I'm gonna be actually playing my games with the 30th anniversary controller, because as much as I love collectibles, I also like the utilization of them as well. And then, my daughter now, if she watches anything on PS5 or if she's watching YouTube or whatever, she does not touch the basic controller. She always wants my 30th anniversary, but that doesn't bother me at all, because it's like, hey, that's what they're for, right? Even though they're like, it is a little bit of a collectible, they still need to be utilized, and I still feel the same way about these LEGO collections, right? They shouldn't just be staying in a box. There will be a lot of people who hold on to these sealed, because the LEGO collector community has a lot of people who collect sealed, though I'm hoping that there will be a lot of people who open these as well, and that is the purpose of them. Though, there's so many questions that come up, and while I'm seeing this, sure, it's great that LEGO and Pokemon have collaborated. It's amazing, though there is that big question that needs to be addressed of who is the market for Pokemon. And, I don't think that fans can kind of say, hey, Pokemon games are for kids anymore. When you're making a Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise massive first product at $650, you do kind of know who the audience is, right? I mean, it's just such a easy kind of thing to pinpoint that, hey, that is built for a 35-year-old Pokemon Gen 1 fan collector. In my mind, that's what I'm going to, right? And they do have the money to purchase something like this. In time, we will tell. It is very likely it will be a very desired collectible. I highly doubt the first run of any, Pokemon LEGO collectibles, they're going to be loved. There's going to be an audience for them. People are going to be wanting to add these to their collections. Whether or not it maintains, will this be like the Pokemon collection box when Pokemon did try to play in that rarefied high collector air? Though, if this is setting the precedent or the runway for what we expect for LEGO Pokemon collectibles in the future, it is looking a little bit bleak, because it doesn't look like it's just going to be something that's easily accessible. Pokemon has just slowly become this behemoth of such a big IP that no matter where they kind of put their hands in, they just win. Whether it's they've been doing trading cards for a while, but if there is a Pokemon collectible or something that they spill into, they will win. But obviously, like, Pokemon cards in 2026 are growing, and if you do want to know how to start collecting Pokemon cards in 2026, I do reveal that in this video right here. Within this video on screen, I actually go into how to collect Pokemon cards starting in 2026, especially for newcomers. If you love Pokemon collectibles and you enjoyed this video, definitely feel free to click the video on screen. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.